For that live report, Reagan, sports fans were in for a treat in West Springfield as some of the area's greatest hockey players showed up for a day of fun and memories. Western Mass News reporter Wesley Days takes us to Hockey Day.
We want to let everybody know that where it started.
Pass the puck. It's Hockey Day here on the Eastern States Exposition Fairgrounds. Even though the games call for cold temps, the warmth and excitement of fans is reaching a fever pitch. Rich Amlin with the Springfield Hockey Heritage Society, the organizers of this event, explains what it's all about.
And it's just a way to try and remember and keep alive the tradition of hockey in Springfield. We're going to have player introductions, interviews. Anybody can get an autograph if they want from everybody. And then you have a meal. It's basically just a giant meeting.
It's a place where the past and present of the great game come together. People and players from across the country and Canada are here to discuss all things Springfield hockey history. We're talking way back, before they were the Thunderbirds, even before they were the Falcons. Some of these ice idols played for the Indians.
Played a year in Springfield and just great fans here. Tradition of hockey's fantastic. Great building downtown, and they make you feel at home here in Springfield.
On top of those kind words, there was a debate.
Favorite Springfield hockey player of all time? Best.
Well, I obviously was the best player of them all, but I have to give kudos to Bruce Klein,
Eddie Shaw Sr.
Why?
The chief of the tribe.
Bruce Klein.
There was also a journey through jerseys as well, but most importantly, there was a chance to experience the pucks of the past while cheering on the future of the sport in Springfield.
And then what do you think about the Thunderbirds?
Love them. Love them. Love going to the games. Go to every game I can.
Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Wesley Days.